This isn't a behind the scenes. This is an actual episode. This is going out there to everybody. This is great.
This is to the world.
Well, let's just get started.
Hey, alright, I got my foot up on the gas. It's the Joe Q Car Show podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to the Joe Q Car Show. I'm Joe, and I'm here with Patrick on the main episode of Joe Q Car. It's the last episode of season 2. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, this is great. This is a season wrap. We've had so many wonderful guests, and throughout the season, people have left comments and asked questions, and I've even asked for questions on my social media accounts, and we kind of got a whole episode here, so you can kind of get to know us a little bit better, and maybe even spread a little cheer, a little stuff of the season, if you will.
A little cheer.
Yeah, you see, like over on Patrick's,
just
for audio listeners, Patrick has a nice little bow there, or
it's one sad bow.
One sad little bow and a lovely Christmas sweater or holiday sweater.
Yes, it's Deadpoolio. You can't quite see it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's very nice. It has tacos on the bottom. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but
it's true.
See, I can see the bottom part of Patrick. Oh my gosh. So yeah, basically this is kind of like a little victory lap. This season, I mean, at the start of 2020, I didn't expect to be doing anything when it comes to, doing my vainly named show, the Joe Q Car Show.
The me show.
Yeah, and the irony here is, like, I tried to make it about other people as much as possible. Like, that was the idea. Now it's probably named very terribly for that, I have to be honest. But the whole idea of this season was just to interview interesting people and get interesting perspectives on things. Mission accomplished. And the other thing was really get good and comfortable with producing things in a really kind of effective fashion.
Regimented
scheduled
fashion.
Scheduled, yeah. I mean, like, all these like businessy terms are those are very militaristic terms, Patrick. But yeah,
that's fair.
Was I that bad of a
No, I had to do that to you. Remember, that's why I started. If we go back to the first episode, literally the reason you brought me on was to get you to schedule and prep you to actually have shows in the can and anticipate releases.
Exactly. And Patrick, you've done a wonderful job at that, so I very much appreciate it, and I'm glad you can be on this episode with me. But we've done so many episodes in the past year that were behind the scenes and reaction times, and all that stuff's available on the Patreon. So obviously you can go check that out, patreon.com/JoeQCar, or just go to www.joeqcarshow.com. It has links to everything there. And also the merch store. Like, we've actually had people purchase hats and shirts and
masks.
And that is just incredible to me.
They're super soft, by the way.
I wear one
around all the time. I used it for Halloween, actually. The orange one I used for my space-time adventurer costume. It was great.
I didn't even see pictures of that. That's awesome.
There weren't any.
Good. Okay, it must have been a heck of a Halloween. Well, so yeah, this is kind of like, let's just get into it. I have a couple things here. I have top comment, best and worst comments, and a bunch of questions from the audience, and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna read. I have 2 top comments from this season, and one was from a guy named Miles, a person named Miles, and this was on the Tavares episode. And the comment is, this was a great interview. I'm very surprised to see how new of a channel this is. Please keep it up. We need more content like this. Also, great graphics.
Aw.
That was just like such a great thing, right?
Can I like that one? Can I pin that? Can I upvote that one?
I think you can.
Nice.
I think you can do that. Yeah, no, you're allowed. I'll allow it. But those kind of comments were just like it's one of those things that keep you motivated doing the show. And that was like the first that was the Tavares episode. That was probably episode 3 of this season, and that was like a lot of good momentum. And I just really appreciate it that person spoke up and said, like, also great graphics too, because that was after we put in a lot of work and revisions and kind of got the graphics package and everything in a place where I was really happy with it.
Yeah, that was other Joe. Shout out to
shout out
making the theme and making the Joe Q Car Show as Locked
in
in
my
tight as it
vision.
was. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it was a good mix of stuff, and so I think that really kicked it off in a good direction. So I wanted to touch on that. Speaking of touching things, Michael Murphy's comment, also my second or maybe first. Oh, both of these are top comments. They're
Okay. Okay.
just they're right here. They're both the same. This one from Michael Murphy starts out with the word touching. That's why I wanted to transition into it. So he says, touching, rewarding. I wanted to be a writer and fell into programming. My son is a writer. Your vocabulary enticed me to follow up. Please carry on and perhaps break into Hollywood. Oh my God, Michael Murphy.
This person's got some aspirations for you, Joe.
I don't have those kind of aspirations. I'm glad somebody does.
We got to put it on that dream board.
Truly honored. Absolutely, truly honored. I mean, like, if vocabulary pulled you in, I did it on accident. So I'm glad that happened. I appreciate the comment, and yeah, I will have to add that to my dream board. I don't think I'm cut out for Hollywood. I have tried to perform on camera before, like reading scripts and like reading through things, and I just totally froze up. I can't do it. I can only ad lib. So
I was gonna say the only way I would ever be able to do it is if I just did my own interpretations of what they wanted somebody to say. I'm like, this is what I think somebody would actually say in this situation.
yeah, it's so much harder. Like in like I feel like I'm a natural presenter, right? Like I do like to present and be in front and like MC things, no problem. But as soon as somebody puts a script in front of me, I'm just like, even like Patrick, like even before the show, Patrick's like, okay, what are you gonna read? What are you gonna do? And I'm just like, no, you do all the reading, you do all that, because I'm just like, I get so nervous. And so yeah, that's actually a fear I probably have to conquer. I do remember one time on a show floor, at a big conference, they kind of subbed me in for one of the products I was promoting in my day job. And they were like, all right, Joe, here's your script. We're going to get some makeup on you. We're going to get the lights on you and you read it out. And I'm, like no prep, no time. And I'm just,
throw you to the wolves. Go.
They basically, they used all B-roll for that and did a voiceover. It was great. So thank you to the editor. And that's actually the next thing I want to say. A big thank you to Patrick for like, dude, you've put this show together in a way that I didn't think it was possible to get the fit and finish I was looking for. And I think with the constant like pushing and scratching and itching and prodding, just like all these things you were doing to me, like brought me to a level where I'm actually happy with it. Where a lot of times I was like, maybe not, maybe, this is good enough. This is good enough. And then you would say, really though, is this what you're looking for? And then I'm like, okay, no, let's challenge this. So a big thank you to you, Patrick, and to all the other team members that were part of making the season possible, like Sam and Joe. Like none of this would have been possible without you. So a big thank you to you.
Thanks for saying that. It was more along the lines of, if you were going to put the energy into it, why would you make it any less than what you want it to be?
Well, I mean, truly, I don't know. This is a new venture. It was this whole 2020 has put so many different things into perspective with me, and I'm really glad that we got to spend time doing this whole season 2 interview thing. But yeah, let's move on to the next part, which is questions submitted by people via Instagram, via Signal, Discord, people on Twitter. People were all asked some questions, and I cherry picked a couple of them. And some of them are actually people that have been on the show in the past who happen to be in the community here. So, Patrick, do you want to read out some of Mustang Marie's questions? By the way, if you want to check out Mustang Marie's profile, go check her out on Instagram. She has a lovely black Mustang, and it is a classic from the 60s. My God. And she's Canadian. So what's not to like? So go check out Mustang Marie's profile. It's mustang.marie on Instagram. But she asked me 4 different questions about cars, specifically about cars, which I'm excited about.
Now, is this from her to you?
Yes. Yep.
Ooh. Neat. Well, Mustang Marie says, what got you interested? What's that?
You've met her too. We did a whole interview on that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, at SEMA, we hung out with her for like an hour and a half, just shooting the shit. It was great.
That's great.
What got you interested in cars in the first place?
That's a great question, Mustang Marie. Uh, so for me, I don't remember a time in my life where I wasn't into cars. But I think what got me into cars in the first place was probably a model. I had a model of a Ferrari F40 that my Zia Concentina sent to me from Italy, and it was like one of those like really expensive Italian model cars, and she sent it to like a 5-year-old basically, and everybody was like, you can't play with this is just for looking at. So naturally I played with it and broke it,
Of course,
but it was
inevitably.
honestly my most prized possession for many years. Unfortunately, I don't know where it is anymore, but I think that probably like sparked the interest in vehicles for me. So what about you, Patrick? What got you into vehicles and cars?
Probably a pretty similar story. Like I know my dad was already into cars to a degree, but I always loved like little Hot Wheels. I love the sound of muscle cars and V8 burbles and stuff like that. So I always wanted to go fast. I always wanted to drive. I wanted to build go karts and things like that. We had tractors, so my dad taught me how to repair basic repairs, and then I learned how to drive a stick shift on a tractor. That then later turned into other cars.
Are
What's that?
tractors standardized like that, or
This was a like 20s or 30s Ford tractor. So this was
no
a
way?
yeah, so these, have the full hydraulic system. They have 6 gears, they have, front and back brakes on the or the set of pedals like. So I learned on that how to like change gears and how to throttle with that kind of stuff. So
That's so cool.
and then it sparked a little bit more as we did like changing out the gas line on a 928 Porsche, and these projects that we had around that got me into repair and diagnostics, and it just kind of grew from there.
That's great. That's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Once I think just also being in the Detroit area is like for me is like it just permeates.
Yeah, we're both in steel cities, Detroit,
Exactly.
Buffalo. Like we
I
both
feel like
have a lot of that
yeah,
inbred
there's a lot of
into us.
kinship, like it's just like we're these border towns too, like the Canada's like right over there, and there's water by us. It's just like I don't know, a lot of similarities. Maybe that's why we get along so well, Patrick, or maybe that's why you work so hard because you're part of the steel town community.
We got to figure out how to kill 9 months of winter. All right, next question. Have you ever worked in the car industry directly? Short answer, yes.
So Patrick definitely has worked directly into the car industry.
Yes, many different forms.
So my answer is sort of shorter or sort of longer, but pretty short too. I have been involved in the automation industry, which is car industry adjacent, all the machines that make the vehicles. I spent a lot of time programming and doing quality assurance for suppliers, but also I actually had a internship where they make in the Flat Rock plant where they make the Mustangs, and they were actually retooling for the new Mustang back in like 05 when I worked there as like an intern. But I was actually the liaison between the suits and the blue collar workers for the unions. And it was a very stressful position. And it actually scared me away from a lot of like the corporate car industry stuff. Because I was like,
yeah, I mean, it is a lot to process.
Yeah. So, and I mean, like I was still in high school at that time, like doing an internship. It was an interesting time, but I learned a lot. So, yeah, I worked right where the Mustangs were produced. I have a lot of pride because of that, especially at that time it was Auto Alliance. And so it was like a Ford Mazda plant. And there was just like a lot of cool things to learn there where at the time, a lot of the American car plants were still pretty dirty, dingy places, and like Auto Alliance was this like really nice, clean place that everybody wanted to work at if you worked at a factory around here. So
right.
It was like the best example. So yeah, that was my direct car industry experience, and the other stuff has just been auto shows and being car industry adjacent. So that's my answer with that.
All right, how many different cars have you owned?
Oh God, I should, and I even copied and pasted these questions in
here.
Yeah,
you have these questions like in advance.
I did, and it has to be 18 or 19 at this point, maybe 20. Somewhere around there. Last time I counted, I think it was 17 or 18, and I sold the van and I sold the Miata, so probably 19. Yeah, I've owned quite a few vehicles, but
Yeah,
it's
not
like,
bad. That's a good
yeah,
list.
yeah. I actually, I mean, I've owned everything from 1979, like Dodge Diplomats. Maybe it was 78. I don't even remember. Old, stick shift CRVs, and I had a converted to a manual SVT, SVX, Subaru SVX. Like, man, I don't know. I drove around an 88 Lincoln Town Car for a while. It was my dad-in-law's that he fixed the rust in the trunk with concrete. He put down a net, like, netting, and slathered concrete down. So, like, don't rear end that vehicle. Yeah, like,
It was probably great in the winter with all that extra weight.
it actually was okay in the winter. The heater worked in that thing like real well. So
Wow.
I'm not counting like the PT Cruiser that was like a vehicle, like the company vehicle when I worked for Xerox. Like, that was I actually had to drive. I put tens of thousands of miles on a stick shift PT Cruiser, and every moment of that was pure agony. It was absolutely awful. I don't count that in the list though. So
all right.
yeah,
Fair
lots of interesting cars. I'll have to do like a whole list of it one day, but it has to be near 20 at this point. So what about you, Patrick?
enough. I mean, cars that I've had with my name on the title, 3. I had a Mitsubishi Lancer SE, and then I had the Evo 10 GSR with manual, and now I have my Chevy Silverado. But as far as cars that I drove for like long extended periods of time or that were effective in mine, probably about a half a dozen. It was the Lincoln Continental, big plush. We called it the Iron Lung. Super cozy, giant recliner seats, which was pretty lovely. But front wheel drive, 8-cylinder motor. It was an okay car. I enjoyed it. Then there was the Chevy Suburban, which is a fucking tank. The Dodge Durango from back in the early 2000s or mid 2000s.
Was that the bubbly? Was it the Rumblefish Durango, or was that the squared Durango?
It was a square Durango. It was like the first gen or second gen of the Durango.
Yeah, second gen.
Yeah, the windows were portholes. They were this big, and you could barely see even the rear view mirror. It was terrible. It was terrible. There was the Porsche 928 that was 88.
Oh wow, you spent a lot of time in one of those.
That one, yeah, a lot of seat time in that. And then what else was there? There was one other one. That's all I can think of right now.
All right,
So I guess I had somewhere around half a dozen.
that's pretty good. I think we could do a story of just all of the cars we own. That could just be a whole episode. We could just go through all the quirks and features. We can call it kinks and features or something. Just like rip
I would love just to
Doug
like
DeMuro
have them
thing.
all, cleaned up nice, or had a version of them where I could just like drive them in sequence again. That would be a
fun.
lot of fun.
I think like my first car was it was like a 96 Cutlass Supreme. So like I think that if I went back to drive that car, I'd be very interested to see, because the things I was able to make that car do, I don't think I could do it anymore, because like J turns and just like I just like these crazy peel outs and just what is it, just like slamming the automatic shifter and peeling out. I was really mean to that
Oh
poor
yeah,
car.
transmission drops.
Oh
Yeah, drop burnouts. Yeah, where you
that's what it was.
rev
Neutral
to
drops.
full,
That's what it was.
Neutral drops. Yeah, all the way to max rev. Drop it from neutral to drive and let the tires go and go.
Jeez. Oh
Yeah,
my
no,
God.
I slid that Durango around a Regal Theater's parking lot just as it started to rain, because they had that like real slick tarmac.
That's the
and
best.
a couple of my friends in the back. And keep in mind, this is an early gen Durango, so like the whole top is swaying as we're just sliding in the parking lot. So I mean, but we grew up here sliding cars in the snow constantly.
Exactly.
That was a good portion of why I bought the Evo, was that the majority of the year was in the snow, and I was like, if I'm gonna have a 4-wheel drive car, I'm gonna have an awesome 4-wheel drive car. It was great in the snow.
I once had a Lincoln Mark 8, and I bought Summa Tuma like summer tires, like Z-rated summer tires.
Oh yeah,
I never switched it out.
The car came with summer tires, and I was broke just buying the car. So I drove it for the first couple weeks in the snow in winter, and they turned into hard plastic. Like, I think I technically crashed the car second weekend I had it, because I was going down a hill leaving the mountain, and like the car just slid slowly into a bank.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
that was the introduction of me having this car. I was like, oh, I am way out of my depth. It got
That's
better ish, but you know, I got the
but
life out
like
of that car, that's for sure.
yeah, you live and you learn. It makes me actually pretty good at racing in the wet now, which I've done two times. Not full on racing in anger, but like track days in the wet and stuff. And, you know, you live and you learn. So
Are there, this is the next question. Are there
oh,
any of these cars that you've seen or that you want to re-see because it's eating you up at night or keeping you up at night? I know
honestly,
of one in particular. What's yours?
the one that keeps me up at night are these cars we owned, I guess, or cars we
Yes,
think
we'll
about.
start with like, so I have one that's not a car that I own, but it's the car that got away.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing she's talking more in particular about like the car you had that you got rid of like too soon, or that you didn't have money for, so you had to get rid of it, and now you see it now, like, I want to go back there.
See, you know, I don't know. I kind of feel like every time I got rid of a car, it's always been the time. Even like this year selling the Miata, which was my dream car. I loved it, but I just wasn't using it for what it was meant for. And now it's
Mhm.
my friend's the happy owner of it. And it's nice to see like they're taking care of it and loving it. But I kind of you know, I kind of wish I didn't sell my van.
You and that
I I loved
van.
this E150 conversion van. It was great, and I feel like it was like me personified.
It was, you
Uh,
have a kinship with these vans that,
I love conversion vans. I don't
like,
know
if I
what's wrong
didn't
with
know
me.
you personally and so like I met you first day and you started talking about these vans, I would have some concerns.
I'm concerned. It's okay, but honestly, I think that
But I get it. It's especially the old ones that had the full recliner seat bed, like
yeah,
the whole system.
there's
They're
so there's
great.
yeah, and like for me now, I want like a Quigley 4x4. Like that was on my list last year when we were doing the fuel cult episodes. I was like,
Mhm.
this is what I want. I want a van that could do anything. But I don't know. The one that got away from me is probably that Subaru SVX with the 5-speed converted manual. That EJ33 engine in that vehicle. It's a flat plane, or it's flat plane. It's a flat six, basically your normal EJ engine with an extra set of cylinders on it.
Mhm.
And it screamed, man. It screamed, and it was such an amazingly smooth car to drive. And it was all-wheel drive, and it had the weird ass windows. And this one was manual converted. And I actually like uh I didn't have the wherewithal to keep it because I just had my first kid at the time, and I was stressed out and tired dad, and I was just like, I just can't hunt after this. I didn't even have a garage either. I was actually living in like a big old house that had no garage, and it just was not the right time for me to have that car. But
Right.
I definitely feel like, because I feel like it was an underrated Japanese like super or sports car, and the values of those are gonna climb up, and I'm going to kick myself the rest of my life for having to get rid of that. Because I mean, I made money on it. I don't really lose money when I'm getting rid of cars. I try to make money on
Yeah,
them.
but it's one you probably would have preferred to hold on to.
I would have preferred to hold on to it. And I sometimes I think, like, I know the person I sold it to. I know where they live because I dropped them off. I dropped it off at the house and left. And I always
Vans, knowing where people live.
yes.
Joe.
I think about driving by there, and I'm just like, maybe I'll just make an offer to get the car back or something like that. So, but it was just such a cool car. So, I have a couple of pictures of it. I might even have it on my Instagram. But yeah, that was the one that.
The
So
van of your, the window of your van.
I do have that on my Instagram too. From yeah, really specific lens just for taking pictures of my long lost SVX. So what's yours? The one that got away, Patrick?
Yeah, the one that got away was a 68 Chevelle SS that
Oh,
was shipped in from Washington State. And the
mm.
guy was originally asking for 9 grand, and he was willing to take 7 or 8 for it because I was going to pay cash, and it was going to be my first car.
Oh my God!
and it was in very, very, very good condition, and I didn't know that it was in such good condition by, restoration standpoints.
Why was it going to take
So
such a little amount for that?
right, and the interior was new. He just put in new carpets. All the seats were just redone. And I can't believe I didn't get it. I
You could have been Chevelle boy.
like the funny thing was that there it was between that car and like I really wanted a Mitsubishi Eclipse, but my mom had justification. She was chucking in half the bill. She had justifications to not want me to get that, but she was totally down for the Chevelle. She's like, it's fine. Like there's 8 million miles of metal between you and the next person. And like she didn't give a shit that it was technically a full-on track car.
Oh my
And so
god.
like again, kicking myself, regrets for years, therapy sessions, talked for hours about it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this is a car that was hornet yellow with black racing stripes. Like it
Oh,
was
such a sweet
with,
vehicle.
with black interior and yellow, highlight.
That
So
hurts.
bad.
That hurts
And
for
like
me. Like,
and
oh,
sure enough, 10 years later, the car was easily worth 26 grand.
easy,
Easy.
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 Probably more.
Oh yeah,
God.
but later on even more for sure. But at that point, like just the fact that 10 years later, I could have made such a fucking profit off of it. I'm gonna
Right
have to
when we
censor
started
myself because
turning,
YouTube. Hey everybody.
yeah, right when we started turning 16, you and I like got driving age. That was right when the muscle cars started really ballooning in prices. Because like I can remember being 13, 14, and like cruising through Craigslist, and you'd still be able to get like a pretty good like
Yeah, you
V8
get old Impalas,
68
like Chevelles were
Mustang.
around,
Yeah,
Mustangs
Chevelles,
were
and
around.
10 grand or so, no problem. And then it just was like,
Yeah, like
just
a nice one was 10, 12. An
yeah.
average one was 6, 7, 8.
But yeah, so I mean, I definitely see that'll probably
I'm
happen
so
again,
sad,
right?
and
Like,
especially with the fact that again it was in such good condition, and I was just too new to the car game to know. Like I thought I was being nitpicky. I was like, there's some things here, and there's some things here. I'm like, idiot. I should have just shut up, gave him the money, and walked away.
I think yeah, that's a great question. Thank you very much, Mustang Marie, for responding to a snap. Oh, it's not a Snapchat story, Instagram story.
Instagram.
Yeah, so I very much appreciate it. Go check out her Instagram, Mustang.Marie, and she has some lovely pictures of her Mustang. You should go check out.
Hey everybody, sorry for the interruption, but we got some stuff to shill. Make sure to head over to our store to check out our hats, hoodies, masks, mugs, even some fanny packs, I don't know why. And of course the Patreon page, patreon.com/JoeQCarShow. We send out all kinds of things like reaction times, behind the scenes, personal messages, and a whole bunch of other goodies for our most dedicated of fans. We have tiers to cover what you want.
All right, we have some other questions here. It says, I hear this is from Atish and Signal. I hear you're into F1. Who are your favorite drivers and teams?
Oh, okay. So, yes, this is a good question. I am into F1. I've been following it since like 97, 98. And I used to be like a really big into Ferrari guy because I grew up with like Michael Schumacher, and my heritage is I'm an Italian. Like that is who I am. So like Italian American, and so yeah, Ferrari, right? But as I got older, I've kind of like just sat there and have been more like less into just a single team and more just like appreciating each race for what it is and like pushing the drama and the storylines forward. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that's where I'm at now. It's hard to pick a favorite team, like because like I like Ferrari, but they're way too political, and like I like McLaren, but they don't have the chops to compete with the big boys, and I like Red Bull, but also they're pushing a product that gives you a bunch of kidney stones, and there's like I can't turn it
Only
off,
a
right?
few, and only if you drink it every day like water.
I mean, I don't know, just like there's all kinds of stuff. I like Mercedes a lot, but they keep freaking winning. Like, and I'm sick of seeing them win. So like, it's just what are you supposed to do? But if I was gonna like pick one team, if like you have to wear a hat of one team, it'd be like Alfa Romeo. So just
Fair
like one of the
enough.
back marker teams because like I like the drivers on the team, Kimi Räikkönen and Antonio Giovinazzi.
I am not nearly as well versed in Formula One as you are.
Oh yeah,
So
I really want to
unfortunately,
do a podcast about it. So
my
like,
my instant go-to answer of all time is Ayrton Senna. So just that's my like instant. I know F1 answer, but also I do know his story quite in depth. So that was the one that I always
I
really
don't know. I'm Steve,
had some kind of kinship to.
I don't know, Senna. I'm not. I mean, like I get it. Like he was a really aggressive racer, but like, yeah.
I mostly liked people who cut corners because that's how I race. I'm the guy that will use the burbs to launch my car to get around the corner because you're in my way.
He said he did. I mean, obviously, Senna was amazingly good at racing, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
different generations.
Yeah, exactly.
So like
Exactly.
when I started
based
watching
based
F1,
purely on what limited F1 information I have.
right? Yeah, when I
Modern day,
started,
like I would have to say what Lewis Hamilton because he's
the best.
the best right now, and
He's gonna get knighted.
deservedly
He's so damn good. He's gonna get knighted. Like that's how good he is. And then I'm not even
So-
joking. We're gonna be calling him Sir Lewis Hamilton. Like,
But if I had to pick a team, my go-to probably was always Lotus. I always really liked Lotus, F1 racing, a lot, and especially with their rally racing and stuff like that. So that
just
probably
one
would be my
team.
team.
It's hard to pick one team, like I think more obvious. Like I have a Ferrari flag like sitting right here. Ferrari. Like I guess I'd have to pick that team, but like I feel like that's like I like the Lakers, so that's why I can't like say that in good conscience because I know that how like what a pressure cooker like being in that team is, and I just like sitting back and just enjoying the sport is more enjoyable than just rooting for one team and just having all these different storylines to pay attention to. I think it's really turned into like my like once Game of Thrones like broke my heart. I'm like, no, Formula One is my Game of Thrones now. Like,
so this is your drama, your heart.
It is. It's everything for me. Like it has the tech, it has the like the drama.
That's one thing that actually is getting me out of it is the fact that like I really enjoyed open wheel racing because of how nitty gritty it was, and adding all the technology is fantastic. I get it. You're going a bajillion miles an hour and you're in control, but I really just like engine, wheels, driver, steering wheel.
Yeah, it's gotten like, and I mean even in the early 90s like they had a suspension that changed on every corner. Like they were getting weight and they banned that stuff, but like right now it's such like the cars are so they're so hard to race with, and they're big because of safety. They've made the cars bigger and bigger, so like the tracks aren't as interesting, the racing isn't as like, well, a lot of people say the racing isn't interesting, but this 2020 season has been I mean, even though the title was wrapped up, like there was just so much to talk about this year, so many storylines. But yeah, I can gush for hours about F1. So
one more, then you're gonna have to teach me about this one and probably maybe a couple other people. What is the marzipan dilemma, and what do you think of it?
Oh God. So there is a driver, or there's an F2 driver named Nikita Marzipan, who is the childhood spawn of a oil billionaire out of Russia, and he's actually going to be racing in the seat at Haas Racing, which is the only American team. Haas Automation has a Formula One team. So Nikita Marzipan is a pompous child, and he is he posted a video to his Instagram of him groping a woman, and it was just totally over the line. And even before that, like the way he races is so careless, and he just doesn't value human life. Like there is racing and there is like being hard, like a hard racer, like Max Verstappen is. But there is a natural respect you have for your fellow human, and I just don't see it in him. I think he's a terrible human. And and I mean, just after this whole dilemma, this whole thing, I don't think Haas should have him on the team. The only reason that he's going on the team is because he's a paid driver, and their daddy's paying $20 million to have him on the Formula One grid. He's not good enough to be on Formula One.
And at the very least, he's clearly not respectful enough to be here.
Absolutely. You know, he's just a garbage human. So they
All right.
and yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah. I'm adamant about not liking this person.
So, remember our good friend Kaywin? She sent us some messages through Discord. These are a little bit more timely based. When was your last haircut, or is that a personal choice?
So thank you, Kaywin, for pointing out my extremely long hair. I just haven't gotten a haircut in a while because of the whole COVID thing. I'm just kind of stay at home, but like it's weird. Like I move my head and like I can feel it on the back of my neck. And
Did you see the uproar of George Clooney's like accidental endorsement of the vacuum haircutting thing?
The Flowbee?
The Flowbee, yeah.
What?
And
what?
so much so that the Flowbee has now like come back and sold out again. Because of George Clooney's like, I've been cutting my hair for 20 years with the Flowbee. It's been the same motion for 20 years.
No
like,
way.
Nobody styled his hair for
joking,
movies,
right?
like anything. It's just Flowbee.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
We should try and get you one so you can
I
go
need to
forward
be
George Clooney.
Season 3 of Joe Q Car Show, sponsored by Flowbee.
Sponsored by Flowbee.
Flowmaster? No. Flowbee.
Let's see. Who else do we got on here? Brady from Instagram. What's the number one thing you're looking forward to doing post-COVID?
Oh my gosh. I think hanging out with my family, my brothers, my mom and dad, my in-laws, like that would be cool. But besides that, but hold on. But before we move off of the Kaywin thing, Kaywin just had released a new show called Coffee Talk. She's from the New York area, so
the Long Island. Yeah,
she is from Long Island. She says dog. Coffee Talk. Go check it out. Kaywin.
Terrible.
Oh my god, she's just like, what a unique person. Obviously, if you're made it this far, you've probably listened to her episode. If not, go check out
check it out. It's very funny.
She's been so many places, and wow, that episode was just like there's so much heart in that episode. So go check it out. But yeah, Coffee Talk. Go check that out too. She just is getting done releasing like episode 2 or 3 by the time this releases. So yeah. Okay, now Brady on Instagram says, what are we doing post-COVID? Patrick, what are you doing post-COVID?
Traveling.
Yes. Where?
Yeah, no,
where are you going?
Much. One of my friends and I were talking about doing Germany or somewhere in South America. I really want to do Prague and Budapest. I've always wanted to do Japan, but I'm really digging deep for those. I've always been really into those scenic images of nature and going to places in different parts of the world where like I don't get to see this type of geological formation or this kind of forest or that kind of stuff. So I want to go see as much of it as I can, because we had fires in Australia, fires in California, Beirut explosions, we had murder hornets, COVID, we had like any number of destructions of beautiful scenic images. So
you gotta go to Iceland, get on some glaciers.
Oh my god. Talk about I want to go to Greenland and Iceland and up to Norway so I can go sit in some
those geothermal
hot springs
pools.
but with ice and stuff.
Norway is on my list for sure. I'm extremely motivated to get to Norway.
I want to go take some driving classes up that way too, because their regular driving school used to be basically rally school. They would send you down a hill and have you skid out on water and basically have you try and regain composure.
Yeah, those guys are nuts. There's so much how many biomes can we see before they're gone? That's a great just a good call. Yeah, COVID, I just want to go to a park with my kid. I have a very low, but I want to go to a park with my kid and not have to worry about what other people are doing and
I mean, I'd like to
have low expectations.
I'd like to go to a party. I'd like to go to a bar and actually interact with new people and but the conversation is going to be so dry. what are you interested in? It's like, well, I was just trapped in the house for a year and a half, so like, I don't remember anymore.
Thank you for the question over Instagram, Brady. Very much
Yes,
appreciated.
thank you for that eye into our current situation.
Yeah, Brady has been a longtime listener of the Just Cool Enough show that I do, so I absolutely appreciate his love and support carrying over to the Joe Q Car show here.
We got one more. Who are the top 3 people you would gift your left male genitalia parts to interview, and what would you ask?
So this is one that I did copy in, and I had to take a little bit of time for, and I only came up with like 2. So right now I'm like all about, there's a professor named Professor Scott Galloway who's like turning into this like rock star business professor, and he taught at NYC Stern School of Business, and he's just kicking out some amazing content, and I've been following him for a few years now, but he just like started his own interview podcast, and he's interviewing some amazing people, but I want to interview him because he's just wacky, interesting, and he's wrong a lot of the time, but he's also right a lot of the time. So really cool person. I recommend all the stuff he's putting out. And then also I really like, this is kind of like my attainable dream goal would be to get the cast of the Shift F1 podcast. Like there are 3 people that I really respect, Drew Scanlon, Rob Zapney, and Daniel Dwyer. Those 3 guys, I just really enjoy their show, and it'd really be cool to talk to them about their backgrounds. And I don't know, I'll say Leo Laporte, because Leo Laporte is a longtime podcaster. He started a network called the Twitch Network at twitch.tv. And I mean, I think if it wasn't for him and maybe like Tom Merritt, I wouldn't be in the careers I'm in. I wouldn't have the expansive knowledge that I have, because they've kind of sparked a lot of interest in tech. So those are a bunch more than 3, but those are some people I'd like to talk to. I don't necessarily know if I'd give up genitalia to talk to these guys, but I consider it. What about you? Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to see, Patrick?
You
don't have to name 3, but like
my instant gut reaction were Patrick Stewart, Ian McClellan, and Mark Hamill.
See, you aimed like really high.
And I would consider giving a testicle for being able to sit with those 3 same time in a room and just like hang out with them and have conversations with them. Like, yeah, I mean, they would probably hate it because they'd be stuck with this kid who just like has a stitched up nutsack. But at the end of the day, like, I have a grin on my face.
Yeah, well, what kind of idiot gave up a left nut to talk to us?
Like, you could have done something so much easier.
Would it be both of ours?
Like, oh god, I don't know. Are you gonna be there too? What's the cost of admission? 1 or 2?
Do we get all 3 for 1?
I think that's the idea.
Logistics aside,
I don't have 1 for 1. This is not gonna work.
We only can go for so far with this question. Oh my gosh, there is one more question.
Those would be mine, and then like there's a bunch of other ones that would kind of pepper in, the Morgan Freemans of the world, or I'd probably like to meet Gertrude Thornburg. And actually like have a conversation with her, because that would be an interesting interview.
It's Gretchen, right? Gertrude? Maybe I've been saying it wrong. I don't know.
Oh god, don't do this to me now.
You could just re-say the line and edit it out.
No, I was right. Gretchen Thornburg. Yeah.
I thought you said Gertrude. Anyway, we have one more question down there on the second page. This one's from Adam Deem on Twitter. He messaged me on Twitter on one of my new fleets. I did a fleet asking for questions, and he said a very simple question. He said, "What's next for you?" And that is a very good question. I have my 2021 looks like a very interesting time. I should be moving. I should be shaking. I should be
shaking and or baking.
Yeah, shaking and baking. Yeah, there will be changes, and as far as the show is concerned, there will be changes, but stay tuned. Patrick, what's your 2021, or what's next for you after season 2 of the Joe Q Car Show? Are you just gonna go run away and hide in a hole?
No, Driven Initiative is up and running. If anybody needs editing work, go over to my website, driveninitiativemedia.com, and we can see what we can do for you. And I am just going to be relaxing. I'm getting a Christmas tree tomorrow. And then basically just enjoying the tail end of the holiday. We're just getting some snow here for the first time this season. And kind of taking the time to relax before jumping into the new year.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting 2021 for this show, for my other podcasts, for all the podcasts I work with, for jobs, for careers. It's just going to be, I just like 2020 has so much bottled up potential that hasn't got to go anywhere. And I feel like 2021 for everyone, like people are going to be switching and doing and creating, and it's going to be crazy as soon as we can, make whatever our new normal will be. So anyway, I can just keep talking all night about all these topics, especially the Formula One one. I would love to do a Formula One podcast, but
you'd have to teach me. Like I would be down to do it, but you would have to basically sit and deal with every question I have about it.
That sounds great. Let's bring you up to speed. Let's do it. So basically, thank you so much for listening this far into the episode. If you've made it this far, go check out the Patreon and subscribe to one of the tiers. Any one of them helps tremendously. We want to be creating more interesting content. Leave a comment below on this video. Tell us, if did we miss any questions? Do you want us to answer different questions? Do you want us to make a different format show where we're answering more of these questions? Should we do more interview shows? There's so many things. Your feedback's important to us. Comments down below, thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. What is the thing? Oh yeah, the podcast you're listening to. If you're listening to the audio version, rate it on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, the higher we go, the more ears it hits.
Exactly. So if you want to check out anything Joe Q Car, that is joeqcarshow.com, and that has the links to everything, even my LinkedIn profile. And Patrick, you said Driven Initiative is where
driveninitiativemedia.com for all of your editing, production, and fun time needs.
Yeah, so until next time, always use your blinker, and good luck. Have fun, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Joe Q Car Show. To gain access to our exclusive after show, known as Reaction Time, cleverly named, I know, head over to patreon.com/JoeQCar, and you'll get to hear our behind-the-scenes thoughts, get some follow-up questions, get some tidbits we left out of the show as little extras. And in addition to the Reaction Time after show, you'll also receive a bunch of other benefits. You'll get behind-the-scenes updates, maybe some stickers, advance notice of who's coming on the show. You could even hang out with me if you're at that tier. There's a bunch of different things. Please go check them out. It's all at patreon.com/JoeQCar. Thank you so much for listening. I can talk all day, so until next time, goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. Let's go. This is the Joe Q Car Show. You know right now I got a full tank, so if you ready, we can hit the road. Ayy. Old school is the best. Mixtapes on cassettes. Keep the rims so fresh. Yeah, electric cars, yeah, they the bomb. Racing cars, Formula One, we love it all. So if you love the episode, come back for another one. Yeah.